Good evening and welcome to episode 38. As always, we will start with gratitude attitude. So please gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, relax some more. Take one more deep breath. This time, completely let yourself go. Now, think of one thing that you are thankful for that happened in the past 1 week. Once you have identified that, think about why you are thankful. And now it's time to let it free. If you are by yourself, say it out loud what you are thankful for and why. If you are with someone, tell it to each other. All right. So we have been discussing emptiness for the past few weeks. We looked at the emptiness of phenomenon, emptiness of body, as well as emptiness of mind. So let's continue with this deep subject and look at the emptiness of I today. To explore the emptiness of I, we'll go looking for that inherently existing I. Before we look for anything, we must know what it is that we are looking for. If you want to find your car keys, you need to know what they look like before you can find them. Similarly, we must first know what does inherently existing I looks like before we go searching for it. So the easiest way to see what our inherently existing I looks like is to go back and think about a time when we were grasping for that I. I want you to think about a time when you were proud of yourself. Maybe you achieved something big, or you were proud of your kids, or whatever the case may be. Think about your state of mind and your physical expressions at that time. You were really into yourself, you're proud of yourself. If you visualize yourself at your proudest moment, you have found your inherently existing I. Another place to look is to think about a time you were really frightened. Let's say a wild animal was chasing you, or you were scared about losing a relationship, or money, or whatever that may be. If you can think about yourself at the time you were frightened, your state of mind, your physical state, maybe you were shaking, right? That's your inherently existing I. You can also look at a couple of other examples. When you were really sad, something happened, someone passed away. Look at your state of mind at that time. They all will have same effect. Whether you are proud, you are frightened, you are sad, they'll all have this strong sense of I, me, right? So that's the first thing we have to do before we go look for it. So once you identify what the inherently existing I looks like, then we start searching for it. Before we go on searching though, let's agree on what possibilities are there. Where would we find our inherently existing I? So we can find this either in our body or in our mind or combination of our body and mind or outside of our body and mind. That's it. There is no fifth possibility, right? So let's begin. First, we need to see if we can find our inherently existing I in our body. Similar to the contemplation we did on the emptiness of body, we start searching for it. Can we find our I in our limbs, our arms and our legs? For me, easiest way to understand this is, let's say I lost my limbs. Would I still be frightened the same way I was, or proud of that moment I had, or sad of the moment I had? And the answer is yes, right? So obviously, my limbs are not my inherently existing I. Okay, how about we now start looking somewhere else? We look for it in our organs. Again, easiest way for me to understand is that every one of our organ is transplantable, right? You can have a heart transplant, you can have lung transplant, whatever organ you have, they can transplant it, meaning they can put someone else's organ in your body. So if that's the case, if I have someone else's organ in my body, that means that organ is not my inherently existing I, right? And which is true for every one of our organs. So my limbs are not my I, my organs are not my I. We talked about our skin before, that our skin changes every 28 days. Science tells us that. If it changes every 28 days, then it cannot be I, right? So that we establish that we cannot find our inherently existing I in our body. So we had four possibility, one of them is not there. Let's look for it in our mind. As we discussed last week, our mind is this vast awareness that is continuing from the beginningless time. It changes from moment to moment. If it was inherently existing I, it would be solid as a rock, if you will. It would not be changing on a moment to moment basis. Other way to look at this is that feelings also are fleeting. Just like a wind blows on a stormy day, our feelings keep changing. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are sad. So that cannot be our inherently existing I. Yet another way to look at this is our mind is our possession, right? We are the possessor, mind is the possessed. The possessor and the possessed cannot be the same. This is my phone, but that's not me, right? So the phone is possessed, I am the possessor. That means our mind cannot be inherently existing I. So how about body and mind combined? Well, this is a classic example we talked about before. Two things that are not me cannot be me. If I've been driving and say I want to go look for a horse, and on the road I see a goat, I say, hey, that's a goat, but that's not a horse. I continue driving and I see a cow. Say, hey, that's a cow, that's not a horse. Now, if I tell you that, hey, I see a goat, which is not a horse, I see a cow, which is not a horse, but if you combine the two, it will give you a horse. That's just not possible, right? So, two things that are not me cannot be me. So, our body is not our I, our mind is not our I, combination of our body and mind are not our I. So, only one possibility left. Maybe it's outside of our body and mind. How can we look for that? It's so absurd, right? Let's go through the exercise anyway. You are sitting in one place right now. Where would you look for your eye outside of your body and mind? Could that be in another corner of the same room? Could it be outside of that room? How about outside of the house, maybe? What about in some other city? It's not possible, right? So we looked for our inherently existing I in every possibility there was, our body, our mind, combination of our body and mind, and outside of our body and mind. And we could not find the inherently existing I that we so strongly grasp. This grasping is what our ego is. It is the root of almost all of our delusions. We are grasping at a thing that does not exist to create problems in our lives. If we begin to let go of that grasping just little by little, life will begin to change for the better for humanity. If we start attaching ourselves to our I so strongly, right? We just say, okay, I'm going to let it go just a little bit of my I. Life becomes much easier. So that's the lesson of the day. I know it's deep. I know it's complicated. We're going to do an entire Q&A session if hopefully people will show up next week. And, uh, we'll answer all the questions about emptiness. But in today's meditation, as always, we will start first settling in our hearts. Once we settle down, we'll begin to contemplate the inherent existence of our I. And to do that, first thing we'll do is identify the object of negation, meaning identify what it is that we are grasping at, right? That I, maybe it's in our frightened state of mind, maybe it's in our pride state of mind, maybe it's in our sad state of mind. Let's look for that and truly find, okay, that's what I'm looking for. Then once we have that, we'll go look for it in our body, in our mind, and just like we talked about, right? And then once we realize there is no inherent existing I, we'll meditate on it. So that's the plan. If you're ready, let's get into our meditation posture. Let me, okay. So if you are in a sitting position, get into a cross-legged position if you can. If not, it's okay. Just make sure your legs are straight. Your back is upright. Gently close your eyes. Keep your mouth just a little bit open. Any tension we tend to accumulate in our jaws. When we open our mouth, it releases that tension. Bring your palms in your lap, right over left, thumbs gently touching each other. Now take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, completely relax all your muscles. Bring your attention to the sensation of your breath. Feel the cool air as you inhale. Feel slightly warmer air as you breathe out. Continue focusing on your breath for about a minute or so on your own. Now, bring your focus at your heart. Imagine everything that happened before this moment melts away in light and disappears. Things that have not yet happened, not here anyway. Just enjoy the moment. Feel the peace at your heart this moment brings. Now, let's go look for our inherently existing I. Before we look for it, we must know what it looks like. Think about a time when you were very proud of yourself, or when you were very frightened or when you were sad. Imagine your state of mind at that point. Think about your physical nature at the time. Were you shaking? Once you identified that self, keep that in your mind. That's what we're going to go look for. As we discussed, there are only four possibilities. We can find our I in our body, in our mind, combination of our body and mind, or outside of our body and mind. That's it. So let's look for it in our body first. Could it be in our arms and legs? If you lost one of your arms and legs, would you still be proud in the moment you were thinking about, or sad in the moment you were thinking about, or frightened? The answer is yes. That means our I is not in our arms and legs. How about our organs? Every one of our organ is transplantable, meaning if it goes bad, they can put someone else's organ in our body. If that's the case, it cannot be our eye, because now we would have someone else's organ. How about our skin? Every 28 days, we have a new skin. That means we cannot find our eye in our body. So, how about mind? The easiest way is to think about that Our mind is our possession. What we possess and us cannot be the same, right? This is my computer, but I am not the computer. Contemplate on that for a second or two. So now we know that our mind is not our I. How about our body and mind together? If I give you a computer and I want water, you want water, you say, well, this is not water. If I give you a pillow, it's not water. Two things that are not water cannot be water, right? Just because you combine them. So, two things that are not our I. Our body is not our I, our mind is not our I. Cannot be our I. Contemplate that for a few seconds. Now, let's look for it outside of our body and mind. Observe it, you know, it sounds. Where would you look? In a car, outside your house, outside your room? Just not possible. So we have looked for our I everywhere that is visibility, and we could not find our I. Contemplate on that for a minute or so. Now we have found that inherently existing I does not exist. Thing we grasp so strongly all day long does not exist. Focus on that point single pointedly. Inherently existing I does not exist. Focus on that single pointedly. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Okay, I know it was a little bit deep. Any questions? Go ahead, Sapan.
It's a very deep subject, Nirubai. need to, need
Yes,
a need a time to think.
it is absolutely. And but more we realize that, right? It releases our attachment from ourselves. If you think about it, most of our problems comes from two sets. One is our delusion, our anger attachment, right? Where we are attached to our things, our relationships, and whatnot. Then that's half of it. The other half is this, what I call self grasping, right? We grasp at ourselves so strongly, and that's almost half of the problems. And this one, if we start understanding this, this one removes that self grasping just a little by little. I mean, the grasping of ourselves is so strong. So hopefully, we do this meditation and it chips it away slowly by slowly.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
We no other question, but I just wanted to mention this.
Please.
My gratitude towards you, especially for the last week session, because you were in that 5 day retreat, and after 6 or 8 hours of meditation, you still took a time to teach us the meditation. So that's really very, very thankful for your efforts.
You're welcome, my friend. I'm having so much joy out of it. Trust me. I enjoy it more than everyone. My wife will attest to that. It. I look forward to this. This is fun. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
No,
but I mean, after 6 or 8 hours of, five, like that kind of a schedule, you still were willing to teach us. So that's really something. I mean,
Thank you. I
I,
am
I
going. Go
I
ahead.
second that, Nirubai. I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It gives me pleasure to hear that because our next project is we have 38 episodes by now. So I've been talking to an editor where we're going to publish this in a book form. It may take a few months because my idea is that each lesson we are doing, we will have a graphic artist do some graphics for each lesson, and that's probably going to take most time. Editor thinks he can finish in a month, but the graphic artist may take a couple of months to do 50, 60 graphics uh, for the book. So once that's done, I'm hoping we roll it out. Obviously 100% of the proceeds go to charity, right? This is not about money. uh,
yeah,
but we're thinking of getting it as an ebook out as well as a on-demand print book. So we won't uh, publish a lot of books, but as people order, like if bookstore orders 5 books, then our publisher will just print those 5 and send it to the bookstore. Or someone orders 1 book on Amazon, they'll print it same day and then send it over. uh, that's the idea, at least. So hopefully by December we'll have it. We'll see.
right.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Liz. Thank you.